Kinds of Kindness is an anthology film written and directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. If you're unfamiliar, he's a Greek director that makes a lot of weird films. I recently really enjoyed Poor Things, and I've seen most of his filmography except for maybe his first 3 films or so. I've only seen his more commercial stuff with more bigger name American actors. But this one's about 3 different stories. They're not interconnected by character or plot or even theme, really. So it's kind of odd. And the teaser trailer really doesn't show you much. It just gives you Emma Stone's character in one of the short films sort of dancing. So the first one is called RMB is Dead. It's about a cult-like man named Raymond, who's the boss of Robert. Robert is a businessman who wakes up, he has a very set routine, his wife's very set in her ways. What we don't realize is that Raymond basically wants to control every aspect of Robert's life. And then slowly as we watch the film, we realize how much stuff he's had a hand in. And when Raymond asks Robert to do something out of his comfort zone, he decides to sort of kick him out and take away everything he's sort of given him. So it slowly becomes a sort of almost like a creeping horror. Not too bad, but this one's a very odd beat, weird story involving the whole cast. So the whole cast is in the movie in all 3 films, and this one's probably the most tame story, to be honest. It's just very weird and straightforward. I can understand this not being a big enough concept to be an entire film, so that's probably why it was used. Yorgos probably had like a bunch of ideas in a drawer somewhere on a file on a computer. So this is the most straightforward, simple story. The second one is called RMB is Flying. This one is a wild departure because it's really weird, it's metaphorical, it's full of just strange shock humor. This one is about Daniel. He's a police officer who is missing his wife because she's been lost at sea, and he's being comforted by his partner at the police force and his partner's wife, and they have a very strange relationship together. However, when Liz comes back, she exhibits some different changes in behavior, and it freaks Daniel out, and he swears that she is a doppelganger of sorts, and he won't treat her properly, and starts demanding weird things of her. It could be a metaphor for mental illness and how it can affect toxic relationships. It could also be abuse story. It's very heavy and weird, and definitely the most uncomfortable of the 3 short films. The last one's called RMB Eats a Sandwich. This one's about another cult. Willem Dafoe and Hong Chow play a sort of water-based cult where the members only drink water that they have prepared with their tears and mixed in. It's a very strange sex cult. And our main characters are Emily and Andrew. They are looking for a sort of new messiah-like figure, and they are looking, and Emily sort of abandoned her family, so like they're still in town, and she wants to see them, but she can't. She's got to focus on her job, being part of the cult. And the cult leaders have immense power monetarily and over the people, and they start investigating this pair of twin sisters, and one of them might have a power. And this one's also a really weird one. It's kind of interesting because the first and last film have cults in them, but the middle one doesn't. That could be the overlying sort of theme. But there's also other little intricate little details that are in all of them, or in 2 of them, like salmon and chocolate mousse is mentioned. And sometimes, this movie is very odd. It's not for a casual film goer. If you don't know who Yorgos Lanthimos is and you just want to watch it to see Emma Stone or Willem Dafoe or Jesse Plemons, you might not have a good time because there's a certain specific weirdness to it. Just same with like Wes Anderson. If you watch Wes Anderson films, you know what he's all about. He's about symmetry, color palettes, set design, emotional dissonance in dialogue, and Yorgos has the same thing. He's got lots of black comedy, shock humor, characters that just sort of speak frankly, dark humor, weird themes, a little bit of incest sometimes, and like If you're not familiar, then don't go. But this is definitely, you know, a film for people who've seen a couple of his films. And honestly, at the end of the day, Yorgos and his castmates are having a lot of fun. You can tell the movies, none of the shorts take themselves too seriously or explain too much. They're just sort of, you know, getting together and just filming weird stuff. And sometimes that's just fun in itself. It's just weird, experimental sort of plots. They're not too thought out. They're not too life-changing. They don't, you know, try to, it's a movie that's just maybe made just to shock you, which is fun, you know. It's there to prod you with a stick. If you're a little bit stuffy, or you're like, oh, you can't have that filth in this film, I won't allow it. And this movie will just go there for the hell of it, just because it knows you don't want to. So overall, Kinds of Kindness was a weird little experiment, a little bit long, but overall still enjoyable for me. So I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.